So here's a sample instruction slide that I show. We just set it up. So you're going to have a bunch of groups that are divided into two teams. So one is a design team that has the design in front of them. The other team is a manufacturing team that's going to actually build the plane, or in this case, the shuttle. And the trick here is that, at least in person, the manufacturing team has to build, and they do this with paper and scissors and pens in an in-person setting. They have to cut out these parts exactly, but the design team is not allowed to show the manufacturing team this design. The idea is to communicate the size and the dimensions and the shape of these parts using audio communication only. So usually participants are pretty creative about this. They come up with a grid system. They think about exactly how long to make it. But what they don't realize is that the design measurement unit, which is given at the bottom of both sets of roles, are actually different across the design team and the manufacturing team. So they don't realize that they're using different scales. And because the exercise is really challenging, there's a lot of time pressure. Once teams get going, they go really fast, and they very often neglect to just check the assumption that the units that they're using are the same. And this exercise is a lot of fun. Usually about a third to half of groups will quote unquote get it. So they will check that the unit is the same. They'll come up with creative ways to verify that. But if they don't check, then what happens in the in-person version of the exercise is the manufacturing team will build an airplane, but it's way too large. And so in the debrief, it's a lot of fun. You put up what happens in the exercises. They have a budget. They get a certain amount of money for getting this correct. They lose money if the parts are built incorrectly. And so in the debrief, you talk to the teams who got it right, came back with more budget, versus the teams who didn't get it right. And then you talk about their group processes. How much did they prepare? How well did they communicate? How did they divide up roles? And then the exercise is a lot of fun. And here's a discrepancy, at least in the real world exercise. There are a lot of real world examples of exactly this happening. And so students can say, oh, well, you just tricked us, ha, ha, ha. But it's a lot of fun to talk about these real world examples of airliners running out of fuel at 41,000 feet because of a conversion error. The Mars Climate Orbiter had a problem because of a conversion error across two virtual teams working in Colorado, California, Space Mountain, Tokyo Disneyland. And then one example, when I was living in France and working at INSEAD, the French government takes a lot of pride in especially their high-speed rail network, but they had an issue where they assumed that train station platforms were the same size across the entire country, and that wasn't the case at all. So you think about very smart people, in some cases in the real world, literally rocket scientists, not checking basic assumptions when they're working in virtual teams, when they're using virtual communication, when they're under time pressure. It's a really great exercise, can be used in a standard groups and teams class, in a standard leadership class for a variety of different reasons. And then Niraj, I don't know if you want to take the screen back and show them what we have come up with so far to be able to do this one online as well.
Sorry, I'll do that. And I've just launched a poll asking people if they're interested in getting more information about this particular exercise. And let me also share my screen to show you what that looks like online. Hold on 1 second. I don't know. Oh, yeah, it's shared. Can you see my screen? Yep. Okay, great. So, and we're working through this, but we're thinking of something like this that the design team will see. And then the engineering team will have something like this, where they're able to click on an object and draw it over here, or, remove it and like choose the shape that they want and be able to resize it, etc., rotate it to get to make it look like this. And obviously they're doing all of this without and being able to see what the design looks like. So we're hoping to replicate the experience that you get in person in an online way as well.
Yeah, and I think the challenge here is to make the task challenging enough that it's difficult to do it in the time allotted, which is usually 30 to 45 minutes in person. So they're going fast, and only some teams are going to have the time and the bandwidth to check the measurement unit and be careful in terms of getting that conversion unit right across both of the teams. So that's one of the things we're working through now, is we kind of have the basic idea, but we're still getting the details down. But again, really looking forward to using it in an online class this
Right.
fall.
And just
So,
to
thanks.
give a sense of the poll, I see right now 75 people are interested in the 5 tricks exercise and 71 people in the next steps for Flyzone. So we'll get back to you with a more detailed version of those and when we'll schedule a demo for that.